Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
If you're wondering about what you can do if you find yourself in an FCPA compliance action, check out the FCPA Survival Guide. It's my latest book. It's sponsored by Ethico, and in it, I take up and write the top 10 things you can do to reduce your overall fine and penalty if you find yourself in an FCPA enforcement action. So check out the FCPA Survival Guide, the daily compliance news for January 6, 2025, the Lady MacBeth edition. And we begin with that story from the Greek Reporter, a first-time contributor to the daily compliance news, and reports on the continued efforts of corrupt and now convicted Senator Robert Menendez, who blames his wife for his corruption scandal. He resigned his position from Congress after he was found guilty on various corruption-related charges, including selecting or accepting bribes. And now in a brief filed last week, he lays out that it was his wife who conspired to trade his political influence for bribes of cash, gold bars, and a Mercedes-Benz convertible. So I guess all we can conclude is Lady MacBeth is still alive. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal opinion section, it calls CFIUS corrupt. Yes, the Wall Street Journal says that CFIUS is corrupt for its raw political favoritism that will harm the U.S. reputation as a destination for capital in its refusal of Nippon Steel's friendly $15 billion takeover bid to purchase U.S. Steel. It also called the act of CFIUS an act of economic machoism. Pretty strong language considering the magma hat-wearing machismo that is about to become president of the United States. Next up, from the New York Times, the Treasury Department has imposed sanctions on a Beijing company, cybersecurity company, blaming it not for helping to prevent cyber attacks, but engaging in and helping Chinese hackers infiltrate U.S. communication systems and conduct surveillance across 4 continents. So, how cybersecurity company no longer means that you are trying to prevent cybersecurity. It is now that you are engaging in cyber attacks, sort of like firemen for Fahrenheit 451. And finally, in a rather stunning story, the Financial Times reports that U.S. auditing firms are trying to block rules that reveal how many hours are being worked on by auditors of U.S. public companies, how much training and experience they have, saying that the information would confuse people, and that the value of the metrics is speculative and may confuse investors and other stakeholders. So the companies in charge of audit call metrics speculative. At the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.